Hey, hi, hello, what is up? How we doing, my dudes? We're back in the kitchen with the warm caramely quick bread that screams sweater weather vibes. This one comes together quick and is a great way to use up this wild and cultivated fruit. Persimmons come in many different shapes, flavors, and sizes, but the ones I have here today are American persimmons that are growing here in Columbus, Ohio. A friend of mine, Nick, turned me onto this spot, and dude, the tree is loaded with fruit. There are tons of seeds and they can be kind of a pain to process, but I've found a tool that's come in super handy and a good method of how to use that tool that I'm gonna show you guys today. There are plenty of other ways to process persimmons out there, and I will show you one alternate way today, but the food mill has been my favorite way to process lots of persimmons quick. Now, let's get into it. First, we can go over all of the ingredients that I have out in front of me. We're using a good grass-fed butter, pasture-raised eggs, a good vanilla extract. I'm using maple sugar rather than a refined cane sugar. I've got a mix of different nuts and dried fruit. You can totally use whichever ones you want. I have sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, and dried cranberries. I have 3 cups of persimmon pulp. The pulp could totally be subbed in for applesauce or smashed banana or some sort of smooshy fruit along those lines there. This recipe is a great base that you can play around with, so no stressing out if you don't have one of these ingredients. A little dry mix seasoning I got is dehydrated apple skins, cinnamon, spicebush, and a little bit of maple sugar in there. This is baking soda. I've got 3 cups of really good local flour from local millers. They do really great stuff. Super high quality grains grown locally in regenerative ways, milled, whole, and lightly sifted for a super high quality end product. I've got some beautiful persimmons that I'm going to show you guys how to process a little bit today, so that's going to be cool, and a good salt just to round out that sweetness. Now that we've gone over all the ingredients, let's talk about an alternate way outside of the food mill of how you can process persimmons. You're going to take your colander, and you want fairly wide holes so the pulp goes through rather easily. You don't want something super fine meshed or you're going to be standing here all day, dude, okay? You don't want that. So, set it on top, bada bing. You're gonna take a couple handfuls of your persimmons, throw them down into your bowl, and just take your hand, clean hand, right? Washing hands always, smashing the persimmons through the little holes of your colander to get all that smushy mush out of the inside. You can see at the bottom of the bowl, there's a bunch of that pulp coming through. That's what you're looking for. We're gonna repeat this over and over, handful after handful, until all the pulp is down through the bowl. This is easy, like low barrier to entry way of processing your persimmons. I like to do it with the crank mill because it does go quite a bit faster. Let's check that method out now, my dudes. I actually pre-recorded the footage of this food mill for the persimmons, but it's really pretty simple. The food mill sits on top of a bowl. I went for the medium fine mesh grade rather than super fine to make it go a little faster. Handful of persimmons in at a time, spinning the crank hand, and it pushes the seeds and goop from each other and pushes that goop through all the holes. So, super great method, goes pretty quick. Every couple handfuls, I scoop out the seeds from the bottom tray just to allow more room for the goop to get pushed through, but definitely my favorite way I've found so far. I'd love to hear what you guys think if you have an easier way, so holler at your boy. You're always gonna have a bunch of seeds and pulp left over, and there's a couple different things that you can do with them. I've seen people make teas where they like roast the seeds and steep them in water and make a tea. I've seen people make fermented like kombuchas and flavored sodas and such. I'm making a vinegar with mine, so I'm pretty excited for that. Check it out. I mean, come on. Freaking persimmon vinegar, dude, what? up. And of course you can't forget, you could always plant the seeds too. So American persimmons put off tons of fruit, put off tons of seeds. You might as well try and germinate some and plant them. See what happens. Pretty exciting. Mother Nature, what's up? Yeah. All right, let's get into mixing this thing up. We're gonna mix together our dry ingredients first. We've got 3 cups of flour, the good stuff from local millers. Gonna go in with our baking soda, maple sugar, our cinnamon, apple skin spicebush mix, a hefty shake of salt, and our nuts. Give that a good mix to make sure everything's well combined. Our wets, we've got 10 tablespoons of butter going into our persimmon pulp. We've got 3 pastured eggs going in. A tablespoon of vanilla extract. That was a lot fuller than I thought. Give this a good mix. These persimmons are really cool. They add a super sweet texture, really awesome flavor to this bread. It gives super like, banana bread vibes, but it's got a more caramely flavor and kind of a date, slightly denser texture. Now we're gonna go wet into the dry. You don't want to overmix this or you're going to get a more gummy kind of texture. Leave it nice and just combined. So once that flour is completely saturated, let it be, and we're going to load up our pans. I'm going to go about 3/4 of the way up this loaf pan. And now the rest will be added to make cute little muffins. Yo, this batter is good. You already know this bread and muffins are gonna be good, dude. What up? Into the oven they go at 330 degrees for 45-ish minutes to an hour. Well, the muffins obviously aren't gonna take that long. They'll probably take 15 to 25 minutes, but the loaf pan is definitely gonna take the better part of an hour. I'm gonna get these dishes all cleaned up and we'll be back in a little bit. You know that the bread is done when you can poke a knife or toothpick in and it comes out mostly clean. Because of the persimmons, they're gonna be super moist and there's still gonna be some bread left clinging to the toothpick. You just want it to come out mostly clean. The muffins have been in for 20 minutes. A toothpick goes down in the middle and comes out completely clean, which is perfect. We're gonna let these hang out and cool out. The loaf's still in the oven. It's got plenty of time. We'll be back in a bit. Okay, the bread is out and it's been resting for 30-ish minutes. It's really dark on the outside. A toothpick came out nice and clean. Let's get it out of the pan and see what's popping. There we go. Slap some jam on this, it would be delicious. Throw down some butter in a pan, put a slice of this in to get it crispy on the outside. Dude, this stuff is awesome. The recipe is super simple. It can be adapted with like any mushy fruit that you could think of. Bananas, pawpaw, you could do any kind of persimmon in there. You might need to adjust the amount a little bit, but play around with that, that's up to you. Some fruits are more wet, some fruits are a little drier, so you'll have to think about that. But that's something that you'll be able to experiment with and test out yourself. Thanks so much for being here and watching this persimmon bread video. I hope you make your own and play around with some of the spices, nuts, seeds, berries that you throw up in here, dude. I think it could be a whole lot of fun to see your creations and what you do. So share those with me. I'd love to see it. Thanks a bunch. All right. Be good.